Welcome to your channel Movies Market. Top 10 best older man and younger women relationship movies for you. Let's take a look that we help you will enjoy watching.
Number 10 Perdona Site Lamo Amor 2014 directed by Joaquin Liaisons. A successful, attractive, intelligent and brilliant advertising executive is longing to finally find emotional stability in his life and decides to propose to his girlfriend. After she refuses his proposal, his life takes a turn when a new young lady enters his life. Stars Paloma Bloyd Daniele Liati Loreen. Number 9 Young and Beautiful. After losing her virginity, Isabel takes up a secret life as a call girl, meeting her clients for hotel room trysts. Throughout, she remains curiously aloof, showing little interest in the encounters themselves or the money she makes. French teenager Isabelle is spending her summer holiday with her middle-class family in the south of France and decides to lose her virginity with German teenager Felix. Then she returns to Paris with her mother Sylvie, her stepfather Patrick and her younger brother Victor. Then Isabelle works as a call girl using the nickname Leah, meeting old men. She feels affection for her client Georges that is married with a daughter. When Georges dies from a heart attack while having sex with Isabelle in a hotel, she flees but the police investigate and identify her. The detectives in charge of the investigation disclose to Sylvie who is dead. Number 8 Wild Target 2010 directed by Jonathan Lynn. Victor Maynard is a reclusive hitman perpetuating a family line of professional assassins. His father, a well-known assassin, is deceased, but he operates under the constant watchful gaze of his domineering mother, Louisa, who wants him to preserve the family reputation. Rose is an ingenious con artist who manages to sell a fake Rembrandt, painted by her friend in the restoration department of the National Gallery, to Ferguson, a billionaire, for £900,000. Ferguson responds by hiring Victor to assassinate her. Victor takes the contract, but misses several opportunities to kill her, finally giving up the attempt entirely as he falls in love with his intended victim. Thwarting another assassin's attempt to kill Rose, Victor encounters Tony, an apparently homeless young man who is thrown into the already complex lives of Victor and Rose. Number 7 The Lover 1992 movie directed by Jean-Jacques Annaud. The primary characters are known only as the young girl and the Chinese man. The events take place in Vietnam. The daughter of a bitter, fearful, poverty-stricken French family living in a rural area, she wears an old linen dress and a fedora, and paints her lips bright red when out of her mother's sight. Her weak-willed, widowed mother is a schoolteacher to local children. There is a violent, opium-smoking older brother and a timid younger brother. The girl is a loner but an excellent student who dreams of being a writer. The girl meets the Chinese man when crossing the river on the ferry to return to the city after a school holiday. He is the son of a businessman whose fortune was made in real estate and has recently returned from Paris after finishing his business studies. He has the look but lacks the self-assurance of the playboy he fancies himself to be, and he is mesmerized the first time he sees her standing by the rail on a crowded ferry crossing the Mekong River. After some awkward conversation, she accepts a lift to Saigon in his chauffeur-driven limousine. In voiceover at the beginning of the film she says she is 15, but she tells him she is 17, he is 32. During the drive he tremulously takes her hand, at the end, his hand is in her lap. The following day, he waits for her outside her boarding school and takes her to the room in the Chinese quarter that he uses for entertaining mistresses. Number 6 Lolita 1997 directed by Adrian Lyne. In 1947, Humbert, a middle-aged European professor of English literature, travels to the United States to take a teaching position in New Hampshire. He rents a room in the home of widow Charlotte Hayes, largely because he is sexually attracted to her 14-year-old daughter Dolores, also called Lo, whom he sees while touring the house. Obsessed from boyhood with girls of approximately her age, whom he calls nymphesque, Humbert is immediately smitten with Lo and marries Charlotte only to be near her daughter. Charlotte finds Humbert's secret diary and discovers his preference for her daughter. Furious, Charlotte runs out of the house when she is struck by a car and killed, with Humbert eventually telling Lo about her mother's death. Charlotte's death frees Humbert to pursue a romantic and sexual relationship with Lo, whom he nicknames Lolita. Humbert and Lo then travel the country, staying in various motels before eventually settling in the college town of Beardsley, where Humbert takes a teaching job and Lo begins attending Beardsley Prep School, an all-girls Catholic school. Humbert must conceal the nature of his relationship with Lolita from everyone, strangers they encounter when traveling as well as the administration at Beardsley. He presents his relationship with Lo to the world as a father and daughter. Over time, Lo's increasing boredom with Humbert, combined with her growing desire for independence and realization of their relationship, fuels a constant tension that leads to a fight. Number 5. The Best Offer 2013, directed by Giuseppe Tornatore. The film tells a story of love and deceit, set in Europe, in the world of ultra-high-end art auctions and antiques. The story revolves around Virgil Oldman, Geoffrey Rush, an aging, wealthy, and esteemed, but somewhat standoffish and eccentric, managing director of a preeminent auction house. Oldman is hired by a mysterious young heiress, Claire Ibbetson, Sylvia Hooks, to auction off a large collection of art and antiques left to her by her parents. Claire always refuses to be seen in person, suffering from severe agoraphobia and never leaving her room. She has decided to trust Oldman, however, as he suffers himself from OCD. Soon enough, Virgil, a lifelong bachelor who is able to relate to her reclusiveness, understands that he is falling in love with her. An astute young artisan, Robert Jim Sturgis, who has a shop repairing and restoring clocks, aids Oldman in restoring and reassembling some odd mechanical parts that he finds among Claire's belongings, which appear to be from a potentially valuable historic automaton, while also giving him advice on how to befriend her and how to deal with his feelings towards her. Number 4. Damage 1992, directed by Louis Malle. Dr. Stephen Fleming, a physician who has entered politics and become a minister, lives in London with wife Ingrid and daughter Sally. Their adult son, Martin, a young journalist, lives elsewhere in London. At a reception, Stephen meets a young woman, Anna Barton, the daughter of a British diplomat and a 4-times married Frenchwoman. Anna introduces herself as a close friend of Martin's. She and Stephen are instantly attracted to each other. Some time later, Martin brings Anna to meet his parents at their elegant townhouse and reveals they are romantically involved. The sexual tension between Stephen and Anna is apparent, although Martin and Ingrid seem unaware. After Anna calls his office, Stephen goes to her flat where they have sex. The following day, Martin is promoted and Ingrid arranges a celebratory dinner. There, Ingrid seems suspicious and interrogates Anna about her childhood. Anna says her brother, a year older, committed suicide over love when he was 16. After dinner, Martin drives Anna home and Stephen follows them. Once Martin leaves, Stephen enters and tells Anna how much he'd wanted to touch her during dinner, leading to them having sex again. Anna describes her brother's death after he had expressed incestuous desire, saying he wanted me all to himself and not to grow up. She says that damaged people are dangerous and that she hates possessiveness. Number 3. Dangerous Liaisons 1988 movie directed by Stephen Frears. In pre-revolution Paris, the Marquise de Mertert plots revenge against her ex-lover, the Comte de Bastide, who recently ended their relationship. To soothe her wounded pride and embarrass Bastide, she seeks to arrange the seduction and disgrace of his young virgin fiancée, Cécile de Volanges, who has only recently been presented to society after spending her formative years in the shelter of a convent. Mertert calls on the similarly unprincipled Vicomte de Valmont, another ex-lover of hers, to do the deed. Valmont declines, as he is plotting to seduce Madame de Tourvel, the wife of a member of Parliament away in Burgundy and a current houseguest of Valmont's aunt, Madame de Rosemonde. Amused and incredulous at Valmont's hubris in pursuing the chaste, devoutly religious Tourvel, Mertert ups the ante. If Valmont somehow succeeds in seducing Tourvel and can furnish written proof, Mertert will sleep with him as well. Never one to refuse a challenge, Valmont accepts. Number 2. Last Tango in Paris 1972 movie directed by Bernardo Bertolucci. Paul, a middle-aged American hotel owner mourning the suicide of his wife Rosa, meets a young, engaged Parisian woman named Jean at an apartment that both are interested in renting. Paul takes the apartment after they begin an anonymous sexual relationship there. He insists that they not share any personal information, even given names, much to Jean's dismay. At one point in their relationship he rapes her. Despite this, she tells him that she tries to leave him but can't bring herself to do it. The affair continues for some time until Paul decides to leave Jean, after which she arrives at the apartment and finds that he has packed up and left without warning. Paul later meets Jean on the street and says he wants to renew the relationship. He tells her of the recent tragedy of his wife. As he tells his life story, they walk into a tango bar where he continues telling her about himself. The loss of anonymity disillusions Jean about their relationship. She tells Paul she does not want to see him again. Paul, not wanting to let Jean go, chases her through the streets of Paris. While running, she continually yells at him to go away and tells him that their relationship is over. Despite her threats to call the police, he chases her all the way back to her building and forces his way into her apartment. He mocks her for running away from him, followed by him saying he loves her and wants to know her name. Number 1 Lolita 1962 movie. Direct 4 years earlier, Humbert arrives in Ramsdale, New Hampshire, intending to spend the summer before his professorship begins at Beardsley College, Ohio. He searches for a room to rent, and Charlotte Hayes, a cloying, sexually frustrated widow, invites him to stay at her house. He declines until seeing her 14-year-old daughter, Dolores, affectionately nicknamed Lolita, with whom he becomes infatuated. To be close to Lolita, Humbert accepts Charlotte's offer and becomes a lodger in the Hayes household. However, Charlotte wants all of Humbert's time for herself and tells him that she will be sending Lolita to an all-girl sleepaway camp for the summer. After the Hayeses depart for camp, the maid gives Humbert a letter from Charlotte, confessing her love for him and demanding he vacate at once unless he feels the same way. The letter says that if Humbert is still in the house when she returns, Charlotte will know her love is requited and he must marry her. Though he roars with laughter while reading the sadly heartfelt yet characteristically overblown letter, Humbert marries Charlotte. By Stanley Kubrick.